Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome back to another video here on this channel. I'm Kenny Stahl, and I'm going to talk with you more about loneliness in this video. I'm sure that most of you guys have already heard me talk about this in my other videos. If you haven't, feel free to check them out. But just to give you a quick summary of just my experience with loneliness, basically, I've just always struggled making friends, and some of the clearest memories that I have from when I was younger was me just being by myself, like sitting at the lunch table alone in school. Today, I'm living by myself right now, and I still struggle with not knowing how to make friends, and I still feel like I'm not close to many people in my life. Like, even people that I grew up with for my whole life, like my family and stuff, I just never felt close to them, even though, I know that they're there, but I just struggle with that, and I've just continued to avoid people and isolate myself. So if you can relate to this, I hope that what I am about to share with you is something that you can find beneficial for you to know. I actually spent some time a few days ago thinking about a variety of things, but one of the things that I ended up doing was I realized something important about what it is that people who are lonely, what it is that we're searching for. I think there's something, and it's not just lonely people. Everybody is looking for this. It's an emotional craving that we have to fill in that part that we feel is missing, that you get when you interact with other human beings. We all crave to be around people. We all crave for people to like us. But why? What is it more specifically that we are searching for? So I realized two things, and I want to share both of them with you right now and discuss them a little bit. And I hope that you really like what I'm about to share with you, because I feel so proud of myself for coming up with this. I didn't steal this from anybody. I didn't get influenced by things that I was reading. I just thought of it and it made sense to me. So I want to take credit for this, just saying. Okay, what are the two things? Well, first of all, this is how I got to thinking about this. I was wondering, in terms of a romantic relationship that you might have with somebody, what is it that you're looking for in a romantic partner? What do you want from them? So to state this clearly, what do you desire from somebody that loves you? What would be the requirement for you? And there are two things, and this is precisely applied to loneliness in the same sense. What we want from people is we want, number one, to be understood by them. Isn't this true? Don't you feel like maybe you are this person, this character who nobody understands you, right? That might be why you feel so alone, is because you feel like you're different somehow, and that the only way that people will like you is if they understand you, and you feel like that's impossible because there's so much complexity to you that it's just impossible to communicate that to other people. So it's hard for you to be vulnerable around them. It's hard for you to be yourself, because you feel like by being yourself, you're not actually going to you're not actually going to be able to be understood by those that you wish to connect with, right? So number one is being understood, right? We all want to be understood by people that we want to be friends with, that we want to be close to. And the second thing, so let's move on, number two, is what we also want is not just to be understood, but we also want to be accepted by them. In other words, we want them to like us, to welcome us into their social group, or welcome us to become friends with them. We want them to not reject us. And you see this a lot with, young men or women who would try to go out and relate to the people that they want to get into a romantic relationship with. I'm most familiar with this when it comes to you got to try to go out and approach girls and get them to like you, and you want them to get their phone number. I've never done that before. I don't really agree with the whole idea of picking up girls or anything, but just the idea of trying to approach someone that you've never met before, trying to get them to be interested in you romantically and be attracted to you, and then getting rejected by them, it really can do some damage to you, and it can be really soul-crushing to be rejected by somebody. If you've ever been rejected by somebody, please, I'd love to know your experience with this, because, it's not even just that kind of situation. Being rejected by other people is something that can take place in the form of friendships, maybe somebody, you might have had a friendship with somebody for a really long time, and then you got older, maybe you guys changed, and then they said, sorry, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. That's rejection. That's not being accepted by them. So yeah, the two things that we want, that we crave for our emotional satisfaction are, number one, to be understood, and number two, to be accepted. And when you're missing those two things, when you feel like you're not understood, when you feel like nobody accepts you, that's what provides you with this extreme sense of loneliness and isolation, where you feel like, I'm different from everybody else. Everybody else is over there having a great time, living their lives. I'm over here. I'm by myself. I'm alone. Nobody gets me. I don't fit in. This is like extremely great breakthrough that I had, a realization of what we want. And the takeaway from this is that maybe here's what I thought. This might not be the best way to approach this, but if what we want in our lives is to be understood by people and to be accepted by people, maybe instead of, if we're really struggling with loneliness and having no friends or not having enough human connection, it's best to probably work on how can you become, number one, more understandable, and number two, more acceptable. And you might say, well, doesn't that mean I have to change who I am? And that's the big question. That's the big question when it comes to loneliness, is do I have to change who I am, or should I continue to be myself, and will being myself around other people be enough? And I'll be honest with you, I want to go with the second one. Being yourself is actually, like, here's the thing. We worry that we're not going to be understood or accepted by other people. That's the fear. That's insecurities. That's low self-esteem. We feel like we can't be understood, but I'll be honest with you. I actually think that we have more in common with everybody else than what you might think. You think you're different. You think you're a unique, special snowflake that, there's no way anybody else could ever understand you. But I actually think that, there's, like, for instance, there are some things that you might think to yourself privately, or things that you might do by yourself privately that you think are weird, that you think nobody else does. But what I found is that when you are open and honest and vulnerable with who you are and what you actually think and what you actually do, and talk about these things with other people, you will come across many people, maybe not everybody, but you will come across a lot of people who will say, I have had the exact same experience, and then you relate to them, you connect to them, and that's kind of how you build friendships and relationships. So my advice is to be more honest, be more vulnerable, talk more about these things. I actually know what this is all about, because on my YouTube channel, I've shared with people through my videos my experiences with low self-esteem, depression, social anxiety, loneliness, everything like that. And people have left comments on these videos, like you might, or somebody else might on other videos, where they've said, thank you for sharing this openly, like, I feel like I'm not alone. And it's like, wow, I just shared what is the truth for me, and other people actually, like, connected to it. And it's like, why have I been feeling so alone all this time? Why have I been feeling isolated? It's because I felt like nobody would understand. But the truth is that people can, and you don't have to change. You might want to change. Like, maybe you should, there are things that you should change about yourself, like being able to open, like, that is something that you need to change, is to talk more and to be more vulnerable. Because, like, I thought about this, like, they always say just be yourself, but if I continue to be myself the way I've always been myself, half the time I just want to be by myself and sit on that couch over there and just watch TV, and I'm not actually going out meeting people and interacting very much. So why would I want to continue to be that person who isolates myself? There is, in fact, certain things that you do need to do to change, but I mean, here's the thing. I think that we live in a society, we live in a culture which actually makes it makes you feel like you're supposed to be independent and on your own, and there's not really a sense of community. I mean, there is a sense of community in many areas, but it's very easy to get out on that fringe where you feel like you can't really talk to random strangers, or they're all different, just ignore everybody. Maybe when you're going out in public, and maybe at a workplace or at school, you feel like nobody even cares about you, or they might not even know that you exist, and that might be the part where you feel alone and isolated. So that's why I feel like the bar is set so low. Anybody can come around and just say hi to you, talk to you, listen to you, and that's how you might feel like, wow, this person actually cares about me enough to listen to what I have to say. And once that happens, you just feel immediately this emotional craving, like it like fulfills you in a certain way, because the bar's been set so low that anybody can come around and just, you know, make you feel good and special. And I think this is something that you might have to be careful of, because people can take advantage of that, of your insecurities, and they might, you know, advertisers, or if you're, you know, a young vulnerable woman and some older guy is gonna come around and try to take advantage of you, you know, to make you feel special, but really he doesn't care about you, he just wants to have sex with you. I mean, these are ways that people can take advantage of that, because people can actually make you feel understood, and they can tap into that insecurity that you have. So I would say that if what you're craving as somebody who is lonely emotionally is to feel understood and accepted by other people, I have to ask you this question. Maybe what we should be doing is, instead of wanting other people to understand us or wanting other people to accept us, is to first begin with ourselves and try to understand ourselves more and try to accept ourselves the way that we are. In other words, practicing self-love, loving ourselves for who we are, and getting to know ourselves better. And maybe that will build confidence, build self-esteem, so we won't crave that or need that from other people. That is it, everybody. That is the speech. That is my take on loneliness and feeling isolated and alone. And at this point, the video is over. I just want to let you know how thankful I am that you're here. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe right now. And also, I want to know what you think about this. Is this video a good video? Did you like it? Did it help you? Did it provide you with some insight or realization for what loneliness is all about and what we all want as being lonely people? If so, leave a comment down below and share this video. Get it on social media. Let people know about who I am. You can also go to my Twitter and Facebook page and follow me there. And also support the channel financially with Patreon, and also just by sharing